right, guys, welcome back to another edition of the Daytona Motor Mouths. I'm Ryan Pritt. That smiling gentleman on the other side, he's Ken Willis. How are you, Ken? You have a good Easter?
Great. Yes, I did, as a matter of fact. Yes, and now we're plunging into April. Ready or not?
Ready or not? Yeah, we won't waste any time today doing April Fool's jokes. Although we probably should have came up with one. I don't know. We kind of dropped the ball there. You actually brought a ball last week, and now we dropped it.
So. I don't know where it went. Yeah, I'm no longer having a ball. Oh, it's around here. I'll step on it later.
The one thing that we did have yesterday was Sunday night NASCAR, which takes us unfortunately away from the show or the game that's sweeping America, since there was no golf played under the lights last night. But I do have a question. Yeah. Was the race at Richmond better than a leftover ham sandwich?
Oh man, it depends if the bread's really fresh. If you can get some really fresh rye or sourdough, that's a tough one. But yeah, I'll go with the race because it had some theatrics and some dramatics and some anger and and for God's sake, they ran on groove tires for once. I mean, So I'll take the race over a ham sandwich. Now, if you said a leftover corned beef sandwich or meatloaf, then we might have to flip a coin.
I'll have to adjust my sandwich selection in future episodes. I apologize about that. Make it a little tougher on you.
Just don't let it happen again.
Yeah. Well, I guess we have Bubba Wallace to thank for our late night fireworks last night. If you guys were willing and able to stay up that late as I was. Martin Truex dominates the last half of the race, only to again come up a lap short of the checkers. And has that ever? I mean, you've been around this sport a while. Have you ever seen a driver that's happened more to than Martin Truex Jr. over the course of his career?
Yes, but I can't remember who and when. But I do remember somebody in maybe 6 or 8 years ago, maybe longer. There was somebody. Boy, I should have. If you'd asked me this beforehand, I could have done some research. But yeah, I remember a guy being very snake bit, and but yeah, it does happen. But I mean, 200. I mean, led what?
228.
65% of the laps or 60% of the laps, and and in certain years you'd say, well, he's doomed. Of course this is going to happen. But this year, we did. Was that our first overtime finish? I think, right? Through 7 races.
Wow.
I think it was.
See. Yeah, it may have been.
Yeah, usually if a guy's gotten out there and he's, all in the mail, nobody's going to stop him. Yeah.
Well, of course, it falls right into Denny Hamlin's lap, and I can't think of, a better ending for all the NASCAR fans that fought the rain and the late night in Richmond. I'm sure that everyone went home happy last night.
Sure.
Of course, the big hubbub after the race. Did he jump or did he not? Did he jump the restart? Ken, what did you see when you looked at the replay?
I think he got a little bit better start than Truex did, but I'm not necessarily sure there's a whole lot wrong with that. If he earned the lead, or his team earned him the lead, and team effort, obviously. He came out of the pits first. He had the lead, so I think you kind of to the victor, or in this case to the leader, goes the spoils, and he controls the restart, but he's not supposed to. And they do have the telemetry; they could find out. But do you really want them stepping in? And I don't know if there's a way to do it without, while the race is going on. If there's a way to do it and not wait till after the race is over and then take away a victory, that would just be horrible. I mean, so I don't know. I don't know what. I guess I'm going a long way to say I just don't know. But
my thing is, if you pass under the double yellow line at Daytona, as you've seen before, they sure take away a victory. And I think they did. Was that Regan Smith maybe
Regan
one
Smith
year?
At Talladega, yeah. It gave Tony Stewart a win. That was unfortunate. Yeah.
I mean, I'm neither. Obviously, I don't have a horse in this race. But, I mean, if you're going to paint 2 lines as the restart zone, shouldn't we make sure that we're restarting in that zone, first of all? And second of all, I'll posit this in a story later today. Why are all overtime restarts not reviewed anyway?
That's a question I can't answer. I will say this: they'll probably say, "Well, because we just don't do that, or we never have done that." But
never have done that. Yeah, that's always a great answer.
But today's technology, today's technology sort of eliminates a lot of gray areas. So yeah, it's something I'm sure that could be done. Maybe it will be done going forward. I don't know.
Obviously, I don't think. I think anyone can understand Truex being a little miffed at the end of that race. But sure seemed willing to take it out on anyone around him. Poor Kyle Larson last night. I'm not real sure what that one was about.
Yeah.
But Truex obviously gets into it with him on the last lap, then gives Denny Hamlin a trunk full. Your
Well, if you
thoughts
saw the
on?
replays of the last lap when Larson was battling for position and he was under Truex, he did run him up into that wall pretty good. Now, I don't know if it's because he was losing grip or because he was a little irritated. But if you're Truex, you don't ask why. You ask where is he? So he went after him. I mean, he got roughed up on that last lap. What Hamlin did to him in turn one after the restart, he didn't like it. He got run up the track by his teammate, but they give out one trophy and it's not a team trophy. So I don't have any qualms with any of it really.
I watched that replay. He may have run him up a half lane. It's not like he took him up to the wall or anything. I don't know. The race is on the line right there. I don't really have any problem with what Hamlin did getting into one for sure.
No.
But it was a little bit eventful. We had a post-race conversation between Josh Berry and Daniel Suarez last night.
I missed that one.
Yeah, that was a little stage one thing that seemed like it happened 10 years ago now, but that's something to look for as we go off into the next few weeks here too. But
Josh Berry ran good for a long time last night.
Yeah, Gilliland was pretty strong early in that race. And of course, your guy, Joey Logano, finally with what he needed, which was a good, uneventful top 5 finish. Are we willing to say he's back now?
No, I think he'll run him well again. From what I hear, he's going to run well again this week. And now I think if he's off the schneid, we can turn our attention to getting Kyle Busch and Chase Elliott up to speed next.
And that's funny you mentioned. I don't know what credible source you may have heard that from, but
I didn't say credible.
Oh, okay. Well, over the last 6 Martinsville races, Joey Logano #1 in average finish at 5.2. So something to watch for sure. Either way, it was a good night for him, and we will kind of turn to Martinsville right now. I was looking at that top 4. You had Truex, Larson, Logano, Hamlin. Wouldn't surprise me at all if that really looked like the top 4 again here this Sunday. What do you think? Are you looking at that group, or you have your eyes on someone else?
I wouldn't bet against it, but I think that Bell and Buescher will probably play a role. And I mean, Keselowski again, he's your pick, your long shot pick every week, right? And he's your guy. He's going to do it eventually, we think. I think it's going to be. I think it might be a really sporty race. At least I hope it is. But I mean, it's so hard. They talk about just how hard it is to pass in these next gen cars on the short tracks. But I mean, sometimes you force the issue when you're at a little bitty racetrack like Martinsville. So let's hope for a little bit of chaos and theatrics. I love that word, theatrics.
If you're looking for long shot stuff, Stewart-Haas has been quietly a lot better this year, and they were really good at this racetrack last year anyway. And I kind of like Chase Briscoe this week. I think he may have. He kind of ran top 5 last year in both, or at least ran in the top 5 in both these races last year. I think he's one to watch Sunday too.
If somebody had one of us mentioning Chase, I don't think he would have been the one. But,
speaking of Chase, pretty good sign out of Elliott for a while last night, and then he kind of faded. This is another good track for him. It's got to come, right? He's going to start ripping off top 5s, right? It's going to happen.
He's not playing with a second division team. I mean, he's with the New York Yankees of NASCAR. So, you would think he's going to accidentally win one sooner or later.
Yeah, absolutely.
By the way, the pollen is still pretty good, and I've got my front door open over there. So if I start hacking out of control here shortly, you know why.
Yeah, the antibiotic and antihistamine cocktail I'm on right now, it's amazing that I'm even able to talk. So with that in mind, we should probably cut this off before something horrible happens. But before we do, real quick, I have to do this every April, every year. You'll see my hat right now. The Pittsburgh Pirates still on pace to go 162-0 with the best record in Major League Baseball. So
break up the Bucks.
Yeah, before they lose 6 in a row this week, I have to get that out now. And by mid-May, I won't care about baseball anymore. So with that being said, we will bow out on this week's episode. He's Ken Willis. I'm Ryan Pritt. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.